Previously on Wreckers the Checkers. It's the final build day for the Wreckers and Checkers at the MXstore garage. These guys have been putting some long hours with their limited time in the garage. But hey, tune in, check it out. Make sure you vote. MXstore.com.au. You, the viewer, is the most important vote of all. So get over there, place your vote for what bike you think is best. Remember, if you like what we're doing in the MXstore garage, ring that bell, get notified, and like and subscribe because we do plenty of other great projects here. As we come to this final day, things are happening. Dill's brakes don't seem to be working. MICMAC's got some bolts that are not coming out of his tank, and Nige, hell, he seems to be cruising through this with ease. But there's been a lot of trials and tribulations coming into this final episode. Dill started with a torn ACL. You know, Nige fell on his mountain bike, and MICMAC's pressing the issue on all his parts and purchases. So once again, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you use hashtag WreckersTheCheckers. Share your photos, your videos of your build so we can follow along your journey. Thanks again, enjoy the episode.
Alright, awesome. So it's the final build day. So excited to see what this bike's gonna look like at the very end. We've got a few things left to go. We've got the seat cover to do. We've got some more plastics to throw on, stickers, a few, going over the bike and stuff like that. Just make sure everything's tight, then give it a run, make sure it's right. The only issue we're having at the moment is the rear brake. It seems like it doesn't bleed up. So we're gonna have to go over that and investigate and go on that further. So we'll get cracking and see how we go. Little tech tip for putting on plastics is not to do them all up at once, so gradually do them up. Especially when they're a little bit hard to line up sometimes, just do them up loosely. That way you can get all the bolts in and then give them a tighten up at the end. So troubles with the KX at the moment, the rear brake is not bleeding up whatsoever no matter what we do. Believe that the rear master cylinder is causing us a bit of issues. There's a fair bit of gunk and rust in there. So we're going to do a quick duck to the showroom and grab a master cylinder rebuild kit. So that's going to add $39.95 on top of our budget, which is already going over. So not too happy. Let's go. Ivan, how are you, man?
Good, thanks. Dylan, how are you?
Good, mate, good. I'm under the pump, man. I need parts ASAP. Just placed them with click and collect.
Not a worry at all. Well, mate, your ears must have been burning. We've just picked this one for you, man.
Oh, awesome.
That green machine can't run without a master cylinder kit, right?
That's right. Thank you very much, sir. All right, we're attacking this rear brake master cylinder here. As you can see, it's seen better days for sure. Fingers crossed this master cylinder rebuild kit will get this rear brake sorted and we can actually have some rear brake on the KX250. No tips because I don't really know what I'm doing. Just trying to get the circlip out here. This will allow us to pull the piston and the internals out of the master cylinder, and then we can install new seals, clean it up, and get that working and operating again. It's absolutely disgusting. Thank God for the Old rebuild kit and the showroom having it in stock. So unlike before, we actually have movement in the piston. It actually goes in and out, so we're very happy now. In saying that, the best lube to use for the O-rings in the brake assembly is brake fluid. Don't use anything else. It's happy days. Alright, so what we're doing now is we're just actually bleeding up the rear brake system after putting the master cylinder kit through. This beautiful Ballard's brake bleeder kit here makes things very easy, especially when you have a pneumatic bleeder at home. Just got to undo the lock nut, put the vacuum device on there and start pumping. Be mindful it does start to suck pretty quickly, so you do need to top up your fluid as it starts to run down. So as you can see now, we've got heaps of air bubbles coming out. So this is actually going to achieve a bled system very shortly. Woo! Alright, so we're just putting the joining link on at the moment with the circlip here. Ballards do a perfect little pliers here, they're offset, so one tip is shorter than the other. This allows you to get hold of the pin and slide the clip on first go, so Makes life a lot easier when installing these. Alright, so one thing when you're doing your chain and sprockets, good rule, it's to pull your chain adjusters out and actually grease them with some sort of anti-seize. That way you won't ever have a seized chain adjuster and stuff like that. So good rule of thumb, every time you do chain and sprockets, pull those chain adjusters out, grease them up, chuck them back in, and you won't have any issues in the future.
No bubbles, bro. You don't have much time. You better, dude. You gotta do that over, dude. Man, you're squirrely.
Do you peel the whole thing off?
What?
The whole backing?
Yeah.
Nah.
Off,
No.
dude. Just take it off.
No. If you saw Sleater's last graphics that he put on, the amount of bubbles that came out of that thing.
I could have rode for airtime FMX amount of bubbles I had, but hey, it's alright. I can't be good at everything.
Oh yeah, now you've really done me in. Is this because I'm ahead of the viewer vote? You don't like me being in front? You're picking on me?
And you're riding a green bike.
Green's money, man. Green is money. You should know that being an American and all. So you're gonna try and blow this thing up when you test ride?
I don't want to blow anything up, but if I'm grabbing third to fourth and the rod just sticks, I want to make sure I'm not on an 80-foot jump at Stanmore.
Yeah.
Key is to keep this thing wheels on the ground, make sure he's got good suspension. Charlie Costanza does an amazing job with these Cowies and two strokes, and he's been really busy here on the Gold Coast. Seems like everyone's bike. He's a great rider himself, so I'm sure this thing will handle really good. We just want to make sure it stops. So brakes, I see zip ties on brakes over there and brake bleeding going on, so make sure the brakes are good. Dill didn't do a new rod bearing. He just did a top end based on his budget, so he's trying to stay in line with budget. Let's hope that pays off and we're not pushing this thing off the track with a locked up rear wheel. But I'm really proud of these guys. These bikes exceeded my expectations. To be able to build a bike of this caliber for $6,000 is very impressive. I mean, with COVID tax these days going on Gumtree and Marketplace, you're not getting much for what these guys paid. So I have to say the Records and Checkers crew probably started a bit of a movement in the fake news of pricing of older bikes. But hey, more people riding, more people smiling, more people having fun. That's what it's all about here at MXstore.
Alright, so we're just finishing up installing the graphics here. You'll probably notice as well we've got the 122 on there, the Dan Reardon. The reason behind this is because the last ever two-stroke he rode was a KX250 2003 model, so it fits perfectly with this bike. Hope he's super happy and I'm super stoked to be able to show him. And next on the list is a seat cover, and I hate seat covers, so we'll see what we've got planned for that. Alright, so we're just removing this old seat cover at the moment. A lot of people will fit a seat cover on top of the original one. There's nothing worse than doing that, purely for the fact that the seat cover will actually move and slip and slide on top of the OEM seat cover. So it's always recommended to remove that original one and then throw in your new one. Alright, awesome. So we've just gone with the strike seat cover, black on the sides, black ribs, green on top. It's going to look awesome on the Cowie. Good thing about the ribs is when you hit the gas on this big 250, your arse won't slide back. So hopefully the boys who will be test riding this bike will appreciate that.
David Villeman with the great movie scene, grabbing the blade. So, oh, look at this! Oh my! Oh wow, Kevin Windham, what is up?
I'd really like to be working on my own bike right now instead. Thanks, Dill. It's alright, I'll just do a really shorty job. I can't do that, sorry. It's gonna be great. Straight through my nail.
Oh yes! Very happy. Awesome guys, can't believe the KX is finally done. This last day didn't go as smoothly as planned. We had the rear brake issues, but from where it's come from to where it is now, from the mean black beater machine to the 122 machine, super stoked and can't wait to get on this thing and rip it and ride it. Yeah.
Okay, so final build day today. Got a heap on my plate. I've got to get the bike back together. I've got to get the radiators on the rear end, all the plastics, fill it with fluids, and hopefully, fingers crossed, get it running. First of all, I'm gonna grab myself a Red Bull, get some caffeine in, and get cracking. Tell me where all this goes. Multi-purpose Renthal grip glue.
Nice! Wow! Fresh as. I like all the colours that you've picked. What have you got left to do? Nothing.
Seat cover, graphics to put on, which Mick's gonna be giving me a hand.
Oh really?
Block past him.
Oh yes! That's a good use of your block pass.
Alright, so we've just filled the bike up with coolant. A little bit of a trick is to squeeze the radiator hoses. That now allows any air bubbles or air locks that are in the system to work their way up to the top. So yeah, just a nice little handy trick for you. Okay, so we've put some oil in it, we've put some coolant in, just put a splash of fresh fuel in. Before finishing off, let's just see if it actually runs first. I'm getting a bit excited. Let's kick it over. The kill switch isn't working. I just had to stall it on the stand. So yeah, lucky I had a quick check and see. I have to quickly rip it apart and make sure the kill switch is actually functioning, or I've plugged it in, who knows what's going on. Alright, so I've just ripped apart the kill switch. As I was pulling it off, it sort of fell apart. There was some bad contents in there, so I've sort of cleaned it up with a bit of CRC and reassembled. So round 2, I'll kickstart the bike again and hopefully we're back in the game. Beautiful, problem solved. Alrighty, so just putting the seat cover on. The way I do them, everyone can do them a little bit differently. Start at the front, throw a couple of staples in, and then I'll work my way around and try and make sure that we're getting it lined up correctly, and then just tack a few staples in along the way. It's looking pretty good already. All I really need to do now is actually staple all the way along and then trim it up at the end. I find that's the easiest method for me.
The boys, stick this. They look like brand new bikes. Hey?
I've got the professional on the tools right now. It's probably going to do it in half the time that it would take me, so I'm pretty pumped. There's not long to go. Done a few of these. I think we'll be alright. Okay, so all finished, bike's done, can't wait to actually ride it, but a bit of a recap I guess. It's been really cool to see where we started off with, what we bought originally for the $3,000, and then I've thrown another $3,000 at it, really showing that you can get a really good bike for $6,000. It was great to get some input from Andrew Short at the start of the series. Gave us sort of a pointer on where to go. I guess a few of the notable things that were put on this bike, staying true to the original build, would be the oversized front disc from Motomaster, sticking with the Renthal bars and sprockets, and then we also sent off some parts to 67 MX to get Cerakoted. That pretty well is what's made the bike what it is today. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and then also jump online and vote for me and the CRF450.
So today we're pretty much doing the final fit and finish on the RM250. So graphics, seat cover, all the finishings off. So tyre wiring, the grips, little cable tyres and little bits and pieces here and there that really finish off the bike. Obviously chuck a chain on it, bleed the brakes, and once we're finished we should have a pretty banging looking RM250. Ready? So bleeding the brakes up at the moment, just gone a bit old school on it at the moment. So yeah, just gone the old zippy tie on there with the fresh fluid to bleed it in. But honestly, like if you got it in your budget, we got the Ballards ones. What are they worth? 100 and something.
Yeah, 124.95 for the Ballards hand pump.
The hand pump one. So
yeah,
if that's in your budget, i.e. not me, grab one of those and you can get your brakes bled a lot faster than doing it the old school way. So right now on this rag I have a bit of terps. So what it'll do is all the leftover glue and adhesive and that from your old stickers. Yeah, terps is your go-to thing. So it'll basically just turn it into just mush. It's the easiest way to get it off. Don't sit there and try and roll the glue off with your finger and all that sort of stuff. So a bit of terps on there, you can spray it on or just put it on the rag and just wipe it over. People go petrol, people go brake clean. Yeah, terps, plastic scraper, and away you go. You'll be home and hose. Tips and tricks. What we've run into here at the moment is the original shroud on this side. Top bolt there in the tank, seized in. It's just not going to happen for me. So that one's staying, unfortunately. So we've peeled the old sticker off and we've been left with the print and adhesive in there sort of thing. So heat gun, and like I said before, plastic scraper, bit of heat into it, it'll come off easy.
What? What are you doing?
Nothing.
You gotta be doing something.
Sticker kit? Should we do it?
Sticker kit.
Yeah. Right, mate. Getting ready to chuck a sticker kit on. Brake clean or contact cleaner. Get rid of all your oily residue, like we used the terps before on the shrouds. So that's going to leave behind an oily, sort of residue. You don't want that on there. So a good going over with any type of brake clean or contact cleaner. Clean rag for sure. And then just come around, give it a good going over. We've gone over it with our brake cleaner, as I said before. That's just like your first initial clean, just to get any of the oily stuff off. This is something that I've used for a long time now, doing what I do. So it's your prep vinyl, paint shop or anything like that. They'll have this in 1 litres, 4 litres. And again, clean rag every time you sort of go over the plastic. So just be pretty liberal. Don't be scared of it. It's going to dry up pretty quick. So another tiny little tip. If you've been working on your bike and you go to install a sticker kit, you're going to have dirty, greasy hands. So give them a good wipe off with the prep vinyl. Don't breathe it in too deep. Dill likes it. Woo! But yeah, it's best to have clean hands when you are installing a new graphics kit. I'll go over it again with the heat gun after and move some stuff around, but getting them on is pretty simple. No soapy water, I always go dry. You can always just peel them back, you don't stick them down too hard. Alright, so with the side panel or any bigger sort of radiator shroud or anything like that, if you're handy and you've got a good Stanley knife and a steady hand, just scoring along the back of the paper in the back. You can do a strip, you can go top and bottom, do a strip through the middle, cut it out, or you can do one, fold it down and start in the middle of your plate, because you'll line your hole up and your sort of your back end or your shroud, you line your holes up. It's better for the bigger pieces, big KDM shroud, 4-stroke side plates, all that sort of stuff. Fit it up, pretty happy with it now. It's coming together, so can't wait to get a seat cover done. So that's next on the list.
Yeah.
So,
Back down goes Pike.
did you enjoy watching that one go on, did you?
It went on very easy. Much easier.
Design and print your sticker kit and put it on for you.
It's perfect.
Another one to do now, eh? So thanks, Nige.
Is not happy about Freezy at all.
So we're getting the old seat cover off, and we've come out with the original seat cover still on there. So, but just getting all these old staples out of the way before I go ahead and remove the original one as well. So we got that to come off, and we got a gripper to go on. So. Hey guys, so as you can tell, we're coming to the end of the RM250 build, and as a few of you have noticed and picked up along the way, I've been doing something a little bit different, something a little bit special. It's a Daryl Hurley replica from 2005. Daryl was someone that I grew up with. I met him in 1998 on my first trip to New Zealand, to Taupo, on one of my first trips over there, and pretty much ever since then he's been like an idol and a mentor to me. Daryl came and lived with us in Melbourne through the early 2000s, late 90s, treated me like a little brother. I was a bit of a smart ass. It was out the back and in the pool, and you know, those cold Melbourne days, he brought me up, gave me some tough love, but I am who I am as a part of him through riding, mentor, training. I got to train with him through 2006 when he was at his peak. You know, he was on a real hard training program, and he invited me in to do that with him, which was something that I'll never forget. It was one of the best few years of my life, living and training and that over there with those guys in New Zealand. Thanks to Daryl. This is sort of the least that I could do, was show him a bit of love here with the replica build. We were trying to bring him over to do the ride day with us. It would have been unreal, but you know, with the COVID stuff, it's just, you know, throwing a spanner in the works. Would have completed the build unreal, and it would have been so sick to see him out there riding something that I built and see him rip around the track again on a bike that he'd done such cool things on. He'd won an AMA World Supercross race on it. He'd won multiple Supercrosses here in Australia. Pretty much was at his peak through these years. So to the guys that were sort of going, oh, why are you being a bit pedantic? Why the rims? Why the over budget? Well, now you can see why, and you get the backstory and the history to it. It's something that's meant a lot to me. So thank you for following along, and to everyone that's supported it, cheers.
That's it. Final days here. The boys have done it. We're outside the MXstore garage. We have 3 amazing motorcycles. It's hard to believe the transformation that's happened over the last 8 working days in the MXstore garage. As far as the fit and finish, I don't know who I'd choose. So really, it's up to you. Get over to mxstore.com.au to place your vote for what bike you think is the best. There's still more to come though. We've got to put these things through its paces. Get out to Queensland Moto Park here shortly. Myself, Dan Reardon, Jeff Ballard, we're going to run these bikes through and see how they perform. That's going to contribute to the overall winner of this comp. And we can't thank all of you enough for tuning in. If it wasn't for your support, we wouldn't get this done. So make sure you use hashtag Wreckers to Checkers so our team and the globe can follow along with your builds at home. We really appreciate the support. It's been a lot of fun. And hey, all of our locals out in Burleigh, we're gonna do a show and shine. We're gonna put these bikes on display with all the rest of the great bikes here on the Gold Coast and our surrounding areas. So stay tuned for more info on that. It's been a lot of fun. Hope to see you at the show and shine.